Hi, and welcome back to this Tuesday edition of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. The program Focal Point, the network, AFR Talk, the American Family Radio Talk Network. Now, one of the divisions of AFA that you may or may not know much about is the AFA Foundation. We want to make sure you're aware of this division of the American Family Association, and here to help introduce you to that is Wriley Davis, who is the Associate Director of the AFA Foundation. Riley's been a guest on this program before. Welcome back.
Thank you, Brian.
We want to be sure that we have you on and talk to you before you have your first child.
Yes,
due
sir.
in May. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, well, tell us a little bit, Riley, about the AFA Foundation. What is the AFA Foundation, and what are some of the ways in which the foundation can help people maybe listening to us right now, help them with their financial planning and financial security?
Yes. Several ways we have to help people at the foundation. One of them is through a charitable gift annuity, a charitable trust. We also can help through donor advice funds, and also one great tool is guidance on helping draft their wills. And then we also do kind of one-on-one consultations. We do face-to-face visits. And so those are several different ways that the foundation can help others.
Now, talk to us a little bit about what a charitable gift annuity is. People kind of probably understand each one of those words. They know what a charitable thing is. They know what a gift is. They have some idea what an annuity is. So tell us how that works.
Yes, basically it's just a minimal amount that you can gift to AFA. The minimum amount is, for example, $5,000, and you can give a gift to AFA to use for the kingdom of God, but in return, you're receiving permanent income for the rest of their life. And
so that's the annuity part.
Yes, that's the annuity part. That's their annual monthly income that they receive that will never change for as long as there's a fixed amount that will never change for the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. And so they'll receive that up until their death. And if there's any funds left over in that account, then it in return goes back to American Family Association, and that's a way for AFA to continue on through the ministry.
So that'd be a way for someone who maybe's got some resources and looking down the road, looking to their future and wanting to provide kind of a stable, secure, steady source of income for themselves in retirement. They've got a way that they can contribute to the work of AFA, which a lot of our listeners believe in what we're doing, so they could make a charitable gift to AFA, but then in turn they would receive a guaranteed
annual permanent income for the rest of their life. And one of the things is people like to just carve out a piece of their portfolio, to use so they can have set aside permanent income for life for them.
Now, talk to us just for a second about drafting a will, because I know that's something that probably a lot of people just don't even want to think about. Some people have the resources to do it. Other people kind of put it off, but it's pretty important. That's something to take care of. That's something that your team would be willing to sit down with people and kind of walk them through the process.
Yes, sir. A lot of people that we talk to, they have an example of their will, and it's a way for Dan and I or Diane to look at that and give them a second opinion of how they need to probably set up their will or change their will. And so that's another great tool that we have in the foundation department. Now,
you're going to run into people that have fairly complex situations, complicated situations. Maybe they've got an inheritance they're trying to deal with, or they're just thinking through the issue of trying to plan for their future. So, and the whole idea of an estate plan or a will, whether they need one, what the best tool is that the kind of thing that you and somebody on your team be willing to sit down with them and walk through the various options and try to give them some guidance?
Yes, sir, exactly. We will be happy to sit down with you one-on-one. In fact, we're traveling tomorrow somewhere in Texas to visit with people one-on-one. So we'll be happy to do that. If you have a complex situation, you're welcome to give us a call. Or if it's just something that we can just help you over the phone by doing a conference call, we'll be happy to do that as well.
So Riley, talking here with Wriley Davis, the Associate Director of the AFA Foundation. Riley, how can, I know Diane O'Neill works with you, Jessica works with you, Dan kind of oversees the whole thing. A lot of our listeners will catch Dan Celia's program in the morning, Financial Issues, right here every day for 2 hours from 8 to 10 Central Time. So Dan's a part of the team and kind of provides some overall leadership and direction. So how can folks get hold of you, Riley, if they want to talk through some of these issues with you?
Yes, they can give us a call at 1-800-326-4543, and that's extension 345. Or they can go to our website, and that's afafoundation.net.
Okay, afafoundation.net, and the number is 800-326-4543, extension 345. All right, and you, the team does do these town halls
Yes,
in different
we do in
different communities.
We do. We are doing them in the fall, and we do them in the spring as well. So we have 4 coming up here in the spring.
Okay, and people can get information about whether they got one in their area by going to afafoundation.net.
That's correct.
Okay, all right, terrific. All right, well, listen, Riley, thanks for dropping by. Congratulations on your pregnancy.
Thank you.
And God bless you as you approach the date.
Thank you,
all
Brian.
Right. Thank you, Riley. Riley Davis, Associate Director of the AFA Foundation. And again, if you would like to talk through a charitable gift annuity, some kind of charitable trust, talk about whether you need a plan or some other kind of estate plan for your future, those are the people to talk to. 800-326-4543, extension 345. You can go to afafoundation.net. You can also contact them through the website. So again, our thanks to Riley for taking time to stop by and meet with us. Now, got a winnable war moment I want to alert you to after what did I do with my stack of stuff? It's happened again. Too many stacks, too little time, too many stories. Here it is. This is actually a great piece of news, and I'll tell you why it's even better news than it sounds. And that is, you might have heard this, that abortions have actually dropped. The abortion rate has dropped to its lowest level since the days of Roe v. Wade. So this is kind of an amazing, and this is based on statistics that go back to 2011, which is the most recent year for which hard numbers are available. And I'll tell you in a moment why this is particularly good news. Here's a story from the Washington Times. U.S. abortion rates have fallen to a level not seen since the procedure was declared a constitutional right in 1973. That's just a ruling. There was never a law that says abortion is legal. That was something imposed on us by the judicial tyrants at the Supreme Court. But they did this in 1973. And abortion rates have now today have fallen to the same rate that they were at the time of the Roe v. Wade decision. So there were abortions that were taking place in America. There were states where abortion was legal in those days. A lot of states where abortions were not legal, or there were other restrictions that were set aside by the Supreme Court. Now, this is good news. Of course, it's terrible news from another vantage point, and that is that there are still over 1 million abortions performed a year. That's a terrible thing. That's the shedding of innocent blood. We can be grateful that the numbers are getting better, but we've got a long way to go, and we're not going to rest, until abortion is illegal and prohibited in the United States. Governor Phil Bryant of Mississippi said that's one of his goals. He wants to bring abortion to an end in the state of Mississippi, and Mississippi's not that far away from doing it. They actually passed a law that would put the last remaining abortion clinic out of business. And the only reason it hasn't closed its doors is because of activist judges. Again, judicial tyrants imposing their will, substituting their will for the will of the people, either at the ballot box or through their elected representatives. But according to Washington Times, an estimated 1.05 million abortions were performed in 2011, which was 13% fewer than the 1.2 million abortions performed in 2008. And this is now close to the 1.03 million abortions that Guttmacher Institute is the research arm of Planned Parenthood. They counted that number in 1975. So the last time that the rate of abortion, it's down to 16.9 abortions per 1,000 women between the ages of 15 and 44, considered the childbearing years. The last time the abortion rate, not just the raw number, but the abortion rate was this low, was back in 1973. Guttmacher estimated in 1973 16.3 abortions per 1,000 women. Now, here's what's even better news in all of this. These numbers come from 2011. 2011, and we know that between 2011 and 2013, there were a significant number of pieces of pro-life legislation that were enacted in numerous states. I'm not remembering the exact figure off the top of my head, but pro-life organizations have indicated that there are perhaps 200 to 300 pieces of pro-life legislation that have been enacted over the last 3 years. 200 to 300 just in the last 3 years, each one of them having an impact, on reducing abortions, the number of abortions, and the abortion rate. So in other words, the next time we have hard numbers from the years 2012 and 2013, I believe we can expect to see these numbers improve even from what they are today. We just know last year, for instance, that I think Operation Rescue reporting that 73 abortion clinics closed down in 2013 alone, that are no longer in business, that are no longer in the business of destroying innocent human life in the womb. So we think that number is going to get better as time passes. You know, it is important. It is important that we protect human life from the moment of conception, regardless of the origin of that life, even when we're coming to the issue of rape, because in America, we do not put children to death for the sins of their fathers, for the crimes of their fathers. We just don't do it. That's not what a just society does. It's not what a civilized society does. That's a biblical principle that children are not to be put to death for the sins of their fathers. But we do that when we abort a baby that was conceived in rape. That's exactly what we do. We execute the child for the sin and the crime of the father. And here's a terribly tragic story. And this, by the way, is unfortunately illustrative of what Planned Parenthood does, because Planned Parenthood routinely covers up what are called statutory rapes. That's where a sexual act has been committed on a child younger than, say, 14 or 15, depends on the state. A child is conceived. The perpetrator, who's often older than the girl, will take her to an abortion clinic, a Planned Parenthood clinic, to remove the traces of his crime through an abortion. Here's a story about a father who impregnated his own daughter, committed an act of incest, repeated act of incest, took her to an abortion clinic, again, to destroy the life of the baby. Now, he's been apprehended and unfortunately is going to prison for 25 years. But we should not put children to death for the sins of their fathers, even when the sin is rape. Focal Point AFR Talk, back in 2.